Hello, Think Natalia community. Today I have the honor of interviewing another guest, a very, very, very successful and insightful human being. His name is Dr. Michael Grampp. He is a content creator, he is a writer, a podcaster, and Eminence lead at Deloitte, Switzerland. So, Dr. Michael, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks, Natalia. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks a lot.
For everybody who heard your title for the first time, what is a lead, eminence lead? What is eminence? I don't get it.
Yeah, okay. I think that's very easy to explain. So my team at Deloitte, we produce content and we distribute content. And when I talk about content, it's really all different kind of content. So it's written content like a study, a survey, an article, but it's also videos, podcasts, info charts, social media activity in general. Mm-hmm. And it's really a kind of thought leadership that we produce where we have a strong opinion about that, and usually topics that are quite broad. So I mean, everything that is of interest for the corporate sector, future topics, important future topics from technology to sustainability to the future of work and things like that. So it's a broad spectrum that we produce and that we distribute, and distribution is the traditional channels, so print, radio, TV, but more and more the digital channels, including social media, and that's where we have a close link to them.
Absolutely. And I had the honor of being interviewed in your phenomenal podcast. And I also remember we had another conversation a few months ago. We discussed the importance of employer branding, and you and your company have this phenomenal employee advocacy program that you have invested a lot of time and energy in. For everybody who hears the term employee advocacy program for the first time, how would you describe that?
Yeah, I think, nowadays you must realize it's important, especially not just in the B2B sector, but also in the B2C sector, that people buy from people and people do not buy from companies. Of course, the company brand is important in what you offer, but end of the day of the sales process, people buy from people. So every employee in your company is a kind of ambassador or should be an ambassador. And with such a program, you try to train and coach people in order to improve their, let's say, personal profile, and also to engage more on social media and things like that. And by that, you really create ambassadors for your own firm. And that's very valuable, because nowadays the old traditional marketing slogans or campaigns do not really work anymore. So you have to use other channels, especially social media, and there where every individual of your firm is so important.
100%. I fully agree with you. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed for this exciting journey. So you already know a lot about content. You're leading a team of content creators. Why on earth did you decide to join my LinkedIn group coaching and to learn more about LinkedIn?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm a curious person. So I was always a fan of coaching and mentoring. So I did this a couple of times in the past, and it always helped me. The second thing is what I just explained. So nowadays, doesn't matter if you're now a solopreneur or if you're working in a large corporation like I do, people business is getting so important. So how to improve your personal branding. And that was a topic for me quite new, and I like to learn from the best. So I was searching a lot around which experts are available on the market. And then by chance, I found your podcast. I listened to all of the episodes and followed what you published on LinkedIn. And it was clear to me, okay, you're really an expert and can give me advice how to really develop my own program around personal branding and to improve that. And at the same time, because obviously it's good for the individual person, but at the same time, me as a team lead to give enough tips and tricks that I now can give to my team members as well, how to do that. So that was quite a no-brainer for me then to join this program.
Amazing. I wish more people would think like you. I'm very, very sure we had happier and more successful and more balanced individuals. So thank you so much for your trust and these kind words. Do you remember your first milestone or the first aha moment when we started working together? Something related to LinkedIn, to personal branding, to content creation,
Yeah.
something when you thought like, wow, that's really, wow, interesting.
It's working really.
Exactly.
Yes, I remember that quite well. It was beginning of the year in January. You must know that also the most important social media platform for us in the firm is LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a week off, went to beautiful Valencia in Spain by myself. So no kids, no one else. So I was really able to relax. But I said, okay, now I invest every 3 days in LinkedIn and do exactly what I've learned in your program the weeks before. So really investing time in that. And my focus was expanding my network. So just to give you an example, when I do nothing on LinkedIn for a day, I get maybe 5 contact requests. And then I followed your whole process and the steps what you should do. And during that week, I had 25 a day. And the big difference was as well with the 5, there are usually only 1 or 2 that are my target audience, I call it. So people I would like to connect. And with the 25, they were all really my target audience. So those people I would like to exchange ideas and talk with. And that showed me, okay, if you really follow everything, what I've learned, it really works. So that was for me, because that's one of the key issues why I joined your program as well, to expand my network, but on a high quality. So really getting those into my circle that I would like to exchange with. And that was a good example, a little bit an eye opener. But again, it's time intensive. So, I mean, no one should believe that just doing such a program and everything comes like that. You have to invest time and your brain as well.
100%. Yeah, it's about the implementation. It's like I don't
Yes.
understand why people believe that when they watch something or read it, then somehow it will implement itself. I think Gary Vaynerchuk has this beautiful example of a lot of people believe that once they read a motivational quote or a success hack, this is how, you know, their whole life changes. And he says it's a little bit like as if you would read about gaining muscles. Do you think that because you read about gaining your muscles, you'll now have more muscle mass? No, you need to go into the gym and pump and work out. But this is the connection that just a lot of people don't seem to have. Don't ask me why.
Yeah, correct. And just to add to that, because you had this very great example, for me, joining such a mentoring or coaching program is also like getting a personal fitness trainer a little bit, because I mean, it's not rocket science, so you know what to do. But I mean, at the same time, when you're enrolled in such a program, and then when you're part of your tribe, your group, there's first of all a little bit this peer pressure, which is good, and where you really have to do something. So it was clear to me, I would like to do that, because then the success is also easier to reach than just doing it by yourself, reading some books. Okay, you can learn how to do it, but that does not mean that you implement it.
100%. So you already were a phenomenal content creator, you knew your stuff, but was there anything new that you learned during the LinkedIn group coaching program when it comes to content creation, or to a very specific type of content, or getting more engagement, or anything related to content strategy?
Yes, indeed, because I come similar to your background. You mentioned that also in a couple of interviews, you know, more from a academic background in terms of content creation. And you know how it is. We both did a PhD. What we wrote, I mean, no one will read that because the way it is written. So for me, it was important to better understand and learn how to write on social media and how to create content. So not just writing posts, but also using the right hashtags and all these things in connection with the algorithm that is then important as well. So I think that was a key thing. And then also a couple of tips around videos and filmings. I mean, I'm used to be stand in front of the camera, but not in such a frequent way. So I learned there as well many things. And I remember as I did my first LinkedIn live session, I profited a lot from those tips. Because a live recording is then always a different story than a recording before, where you can cut and do stuff like that. So the LinkedIn was an interesting experience, but I mean, I profited a lot from what I've learned before.
Amazing. And how did you benefit from the tribe? Because you also mentioned there was peer pressure, there were interesting people that you met. Are there any kind of collaboration, friendships, business partnerships, any kind of interviews or other opportunities that resulted from being part of this group of people?
Yes, I think many people before they start a coaching program think about, okay, should I get an individual coaching or a group coaching? For me, it was clear that a group coaching in this context helps because of this little bit pressure. So, you know, we have this regular calls in quite small groups. That's also a positive thing. So the groups are not too big. And in those groups, you have to explain, okay, what were your new challenges, what have you achieved? And if you say, well, I have nothing achieved last week, then it's getting a little bit embarrassing. So you're doing more, definitely. But at the same time, you have to close group or LinkedIn, we have a WhatsApp group and so on. So you can really share ideas or ask questions. I mean, you can learn from each other, and that's a very important fact of this of a group coaching program. So that's why I would say sometimes individual coaching is good when you have specific problems. But overall group coaching, you profit a lot from that because you exchange ideas and experience. But at the same time, you can also get invited to other podcasts, or you do a joint content piece, things like that. So it's really open for imagination and new ideas that you can do and achieve in such a group or tribe, how you call that, because the people have all the same mindset. And that helps as well.
Absolutely. And what was your biggest achievement or the biggest transformation so far? Like either for you or for your team? What's like the biggest thing worth mentioning or a story related to it that you can tell us?
I think with the team, I'm still working on that to understand how important personal branding is. So, you know, we have this small training sessions and things like that. I think more and more people get this and understand it. It's then also, again, more the question of implementation. So I can only raise basically the issue and why this is important. But I mean, to implement it, they then really have to do it. For me, I think the biggest one was that I much better understand now LinkedIn, how it works, what is important. And, you know, I mean, we do then a couple also in this program. Tests like, okay, let's do it that way and then do it the other way. And by that, you learn a lot what works. So it starts with simple things like on which day or which time you should post something, like how a video or a picture should look like, all these little things where you usually do not think about it. And if you just look at other profiles where people just post something like they do on other platforms, but every platform works different. And I think that was the biggest thing. I would not say it transformed me as a person, but I mean how I act on social media, especially on LinkedIn.
Amazing. That's so wonderful to hear. Thanks a lot for sharing that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we forgot? Anything else that is, you know, close to your heart that we should definitely talk about? And if not, who should connect with you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think let's start with the last one. I think I'm really looking out for people that are interested in similar topics and are curious and would like to share other content or exchange ideas. I also like to learn from others, so I'm always keen on meeting other people virtually, or then later maybe on a conference once we can go again to conferences. So I'm really open to everyone that has things to share and to say. And at the same time, if someone is interested because he or she is also working in a big corporate or in a SME company, how to implement such an employee advocacy program and how to deal with that, happy to reach out to me as well, because we have gone through this process quite successful, and I'm happy to share my ideas.
Amazing. Thank you so much for doing that. Okay, I'm having a look at my list of smart questions, because I always have my questions there to make sure that I didn't forget anything. No, I think we're good. Are we?
They're good. Excellent. Yeah, I think so. I mean, one funny thing around LinkedIn Live, so for everyone that is doing that, I think you had the same issue at the beginning with your first ones. You know, there is a time lag when you record and what you see. And I remember I did this together with a a colleague, so a kind of discussion. And our cameraman said, "You're live." And I had the laptop in front of me, but we couldn't see us. So we said, okay, there's something wrong. But what we didn't realize, I think there's a time gap of 5 to 10 seconds sometimes. Yes. And so that was one of these learning stuff. So people can still look at this video. Fortunately, we did not have any bad jokes during that time. So we were just looking a little bit silly in the camera. But, you know, all these little things, you have to test it as well. So, I mean, we have not done many LinkedIn live sessions, but if there's a new format or anything coming out, so just test it. I mean, you can write business cases for months, but you won't find it out until you test it. And also I would encourage people more in a corporate setup where it's often difficult to try out new things. I mean, do it if possible. And if there are always a no, well, maybe then you're working in the wrong company.
Absolutely. And I remember from our first conversation that you started with a rather small group of individuals who were interested in working on the personal brand and becoming brand ambassadors. But these people went out and got results. So then kind of like a second wave, joined. And then there was a third one. So maybe that would also be worth sharing.
Yes, correct. So, I mean, we did a kind of competition. So we had a reduced number of people who went through this LinkedIn ambassador program. And we made a competition out of that in terms who will get the most shares and stuff like that. And as also part of our leadership, to part also our CEO, it was more kind of who beats our CEO because he had quite a broad connection as well. He always had very high results. So that was the good thing that he was on top in the first table of a month. So we created a competition around it. So competition or gamification, they are important things to make people interested in. And then we had more and more interest from other people to join this program. And that's how we got it going. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. So if anybody wants to know more about employee advocacy programs, how to scale it, how to get people excited about the challenges of content creation, maybe even of using a tool to distribute your content, because I know that you're using one, don't hesitate to reach out to Dr. Michael. Anything else? Some last words?
No, not really. I mean, maybe another thing is, why did I pick you as well? Because, I mean, I've been long enough in the business. So every time there's a new hot topic, and now it's personal branding, you will find 6 months later, hundreds of people telling you they are the best experts and coaches. So I think you are very authentic. And what was important for me to learn, because as I enrolled in your program, I was not sure, okay, are you in real life like that as well? Yeah. Because obviously you are teaching personal branding, so you expect, okay, maybe just playing a role. But I mean, as you mentioned as well, so it's not about playing a role. You should not play a role. You should be yourself, and that's something I found out as well. And you also know not bullshitting, which I think is important. So really staying to the facts, and if there are question marks or things we don't know, then we don't know it. Quite simple. So, and then let's try it out and find out. So I think the authentic way was one of the main or key reasons why I picked exactly that program.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that a lot. Okay, once again, thanks a lot for your time. It was wonderful working with you. Oh, thank you also once again for reading my whole book. So Dr. Michael,
correct. So I had the
right?
German version, the first one, correct?
This one, he read it, and he gave me I think you sent me a voice note, a personalized podcast episode, how I call it, on, oh my God, don't do this. And this was good, and that was, but this one, you need to change it. And so in this version of the book,
part of my job,
in this version, it's improved and it's better because of you. And I mentioned you in the acknowledgements. We actually have like a whole paragraph there. Don't ask me where it is on which page. It must be somewhere at the end. Wait. I have you here. Thank you, Dr. Mike Grampp, for taking the time to send me a profound analysis of my book. It's great suggestions and the flaws in there. I've implemented almost every suggestion in the second English version of my book. So
thanks. So I need to get the English version then, the second one.
Exactly.
Great. Okay. Good sell. Good pitch.
Oh, thanks. So, and everybody who watched this today and says, well, this Natalia is quite interesting, I want to talk to her, sure, no problem at all. Simply go to coachingwithnatalia.com, have a look at this page. I've written a short letter for you that describes a little bit of who I am, what I do, and if that sounds interesting, simply fill out the form that you're going to find there, apply for a strategy call, and one of my team members will get back to you. And if we realize we're a good match, then hopefully, again, I'm going to talk to you soon and we can then find out together what we're going to do to get your personal branding strategy on LinkedIn to the next level, either for you or for you and your team. Once again, coachingwithnatalia.com. I thank you for your time and we talk soon.